Hello. Welcome to morning yoga for Roanoke College Alumni Weekend 2021. My name is Jody Fetro. I'm a fitness coordinator here at Roanoke College. I teach fitness classes for faculty, staff, and students, and I also help kind of coordinate the fitness center. So a couple housekeeping things before we get started with our yoga. I'm coming to you here, as you can see, from the beautiful Krager Center lobby. And I believe they have an alumni event coming later today. So we're going to enjoy their balloons and some of their decorations. Just making sure that you have enough space around you so that if we extend our arms or if we've got a mat, we can use the full length of our mat. Also maybe having some water nearby, just in case you need a little refreshment as we practice. We're gonna breathe, we're gonna feel, we're gonna let go of judgment, expectation, competition, and just do yoga with the body that we have today. So let's ground our feet. We're gonna start here with a standing warm up. So let's get our feet hip width apart. Ground those feet, feeling yourself connected to the earth, lifting those toes. So let's make sure we feel the balls of our feet, the heels of our feet, even that outer edge of our feet touching the mat. Let's, from the ground up, we're gonna firm up our ankles, draw up our kneecaps, lift through that medial arch, maybe externally rotate our thighs just slightly, tucking that tailbone, lifting the shoulders up, back, and letting those shoulder blades slide down the spine, opening our hands, breathing in, just a nice easy breath. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. At this point, we can keep our eyes open, we can soften our gaze, or we can even close our eyes if we feel comfortable in a standing position and our eyes closed. But just as we breathe, thinking about staying here in this present moment as we practice, as we flow, as we breathe. Letting our mind kind of settle. Maybe taking notice of our breath. When we inhale through the nose, and our breath goes through our throat down into our chest, maybe even into the belly if we're able to access at this point. Just noticing our breath. How are we feeling? Are we feeling energized? Are we feeling a little sluggish this morning? No judgments here, just noticing how we're feeling. Maybe again, trying to draw that breath a little deeper. Elongating the inhale, pausing at the top, elongating the exhale, again, pausing at the bottom. Letting go any thoughts, just, not focusing on them. If we realize we're focusing on a particular thought, acknowledging it and then letting it go. If we want, we can set an intention for our practice today. Maybe it's just to breathe, maybe it's relax, or maybe it's find strength, maybe it's enjoy the day. Those are all good things, or anything else you might think. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Again, drawing ourselves up tall. Now, if you had your eyes closed, we can go ahead and open our eyes, and let's inhale, taking the arms all the way up. Extended mountain. Exhale, rain the fingers down. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, releasing. Let's do 2 more like that. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, lifting. And let's step to the long side of our mat. So our toes are pointed about 45-degree angles to the corners of our mat. Feet can be just outside hip width, again, whatever's comfortable. We're gonna find a flow through sunflowers. So we're gonna inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, tip forward from the hips, drawing a big circle with those hands. Maybe crossing the hands at the bottom. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, lowering. Again, trying keeping our head above our heart above our hips. Just a nice, easy, gentle motion here, flowing with the breath, inhaling as we lift, exhaling as we lower. And let's transition to moonflower. So inhale, lifting those arms, exhale. This time, instead of tipping forward at the hip, we're gonna just drop into a place, squat slightly, draw those elbows into the ribs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw the elbows in. Keeping that tailbone tucked under. Drawing in our navel toward our spine. And again, we're flowing at our own pace here, using our breath. Warming up those large muscle groups. Using our breath. Let's for one more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw those hands through heart center. Pressing those fingertips together, palms together, thumbs to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And let's step back to the top of our mat. So again, finding our strong mountain pose here. So feet just under our hips, drawing up through the medial arches, lifting those kneecaps so we're engaging the lower body. Let's inhale. And as we exhale, we're gonna sink back into chair pose. So sinking back slightly, we can bring our arms in front of us. We can also bring our arms to our hands to the thighs for support. From here, inhale again. Exhale, sink back as if we're sitting in a chair. Taking that tailbone back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Again, lots of options for hand position. Finding what feels right today. And if at any point we find a pose that just isn't a great pose for you today, that's okay. Feel free to skip that pose. If you find a pose that's extra nice, feel free to stay there for a couple extra breaths. Child's pose is always a great resting pose. Just coming back to our breath. Last one here. Inhale, lift. This time as we exhale, we're gonna forward fold. We're gonna soften the knees, draw the arms out and around, and let's just place our hands on our thighs for right now. So forward fold, just supporting ourselves on our thighs right now. Inhale, use that core, lift all the way back up. Exhale, release, again, forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, release. If we want, we can try taking our hands to our shins. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale. Let's do this 2 more times. Again, flowing at our own pace, using our breath. Keeping the soft bend in the knees. Exhale. Let's stay down here, placing those palms on the mat. So if we need to bend our knees more to get toward the mat, that's okay. And we're gonna step our feet back into downward dog. So if we have wrist issues, bring those knees right on down and come down to all 4 pose, okay? Or if you've got that and you want to try a downward dog, lift those hips up and back. Taking the heart center toward the toes. We want to spread our fingers wide. Think of a starfish. Pressing each finger into the mat, pressing a palm into the mat. Breathing here. Exhale, let's release those knees to the mat. And let's sink back for child's pose. So taking the hips back toward the heels. Now we can either extend our arms long, or if we're having allergy issues, or just even, we just don't like our head below our heart, we can stack the fists and rest our forehead here. Again, if you have it accessible today, you can let your forehead kiss the mat, extending those arms. Coming back to that breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And again, checking in with our breath. How does it feel? Are we adding stress or tension, or are we starting to breathe a little easier? On the next inhale, let's go ahead and brace that core, lift into our all four position. So we want to look at our form here. Make sure our knees are under our hips, wrists are under the shoulders. Again, if you have wrist kind of sensitivity, you can always use the fist. If you've got knee issues, there's not enough padding, you can always fold the mat so that you have a little bit more padding. All right, from this all four position, find a nice flow through cat-cow. So on the inhale, let's drop the belly, lifting the crown of the head. As we exhale, we're going to take that lower back to the sky, dropping the chin toward the chest. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the chin, cow. Exhale, pressing that lower back to the sky, cat. Continue flowing here. Again, using our breath. Activating the spine. Using that breath to energize our lifeline, our spinal cord, our energy center. Continue 2 more times through each. Pressing up and out of those wrists. Coming back to our all four position, neutral spine. So here, find a little movement side to side maybe. Maybe taking the hips one way, head the other in the opposite direction, or try out taking both in the same direction, making kind of a little C shape with your body. See which one feels good. Again, just finding a little movement here. All right, let's come back to that neutral spine. Again, making sure that our knees are under our hips, wrists under the shoulders, and let's find a spinal balance here. We'll extend our left arm, right leg. Again, if that's not accessible, you can just put those right toes on the floor. We're going for length here, so reaching those fingertips out, pressing through the heel, exhale, release, keeping that long, straight spine. Let's go to the other side. Inhale, lifting that right arm, left leg, and exhale, release. Again, back to that left arm, right leg, exhale, release. Continue flowing. Keep that head and neck neutral. Let's flow one more time on each side. And let's sink back for another child's pose. Now, if we want, we can widen the knees. But again, if that's not a comfortable position, go ahead, sink back to child's pose with your knees under your hips. But if we take them wide, make sure we put our big toes together at the back and then sink the hips back. So it might feel a little different, might feel better, might not feel better. Again, listening to our bodies, doing what's best for us today in this moment. Taking a couple breaths here. On the next inhale, go ahead, lift up into that tabletop. If you have your knees wide, go ahead, walk them back in. So we're going to walk our hands forward just slightly, about a half a hand width, and come into a kneeling plank. Lifting up and out of the wrists, out of the shoulders. Inhale here, exhale, kneeling crocodile or chaturanga. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, release into child's pose. Again, coming forward, so a mini flow here. Inhaling to the plank, kneeling plank. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up to kneeling plank. And exhale, sink back, child's pose. Continue flowing, again, using the breath. Bracing the core. Inhale, lift back up. Try to keep that torso all in one line. Now, if you want to feel a little more heat, you can come to a full plank. So we'll flow through 2 more times, and I'll show you another version. We're coming to a full plank. Exhale, release, chaturanga. Inhale, press back up, and go to downward dog or child's pose. Again, your choice. Inhale, come forward again, plank or kneeling plank. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up. And exhale to downward dog or child's pose. Now, if you're in child's pose, let's all just come to child's pose for one or 2 breaths here. So again, if we need to, stacking those fists or letting our forehead kiss the mat. Take one more breath here. Deep inhale. Checking in again with our bodies. See how we're feeling. Maybe revisiting our intention if we set one for our practice today. Extend those hands. Inhale, lifting back up to that all 4. We're going to tuck the toes behind us. So tuck those toes under and lift those hips. So focus on the hips. We're not necessarily straightening our legs, but lift those hips. So we can leave the knees bent if we're just not quite warm enough to stretch those calves and hamstrings out. Breathing here. On the next inhale, look forward slightly and walk those feet up to mountain pose at the top of our mat. So little ragdoll here. We're going to release the head and neck, give a little shake, no. And yes, just to make sure that our neck and head are relaxed. And if you want, you can grab opposite elbows and hang here in ragdoll. If you need support, continue with the palms to the mat, keeping that bend in the knees. Feeling a release here. Bringing the hands back to the mat. Again, bending the knees, inhaling, come all the way back up, extended mountain. Hands through heart center, Anjali Mudra. So again, check in with the body, make sure our shoulders aren't up at our ears, we're relaxed. So if we need to roll out our ankles at this point, we're going to flow through some sun salutations, some morning sun salutations here. Again, as we flow, feel free to skip a pose that doesn't feel great or use whichever, whether I add something or I tell you can, do this pose instead, feel free to take your option today. So again, coming to the top of our mat, finding our grounded, tall mountain pose, releasing our shoulders, Maybe even giving a little smile. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Bending those knees, stepping back into plank or kneeling plank. Inhale, coming forward. Exhaling, lowering. Inhale, press up. Cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up to kneeling plank or plank. Let's bring that left foot forward into a low lunge. So here we are in this low lunge. We can either support our hands here or we can walk the hands up. Lengthening the spine. Exhale, release. Hands come back to the mat. Step that left foot in, the right foot, excuse me. Release the head. Reverse the forward fold. Exhale, sink into chair pose. And inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. This time, let's step back with that left foot. Low lunge or high lunge. Again, your choice. So high lunge, where our back leg, our left leg is all the way extended, right leg, our knee, or left leg is down. It's making sure that our knees stacked over our ankle here. Exhale, release. Firming the hands, taking the right toes back to the left, plank or kneeling plank. Inhale here, exhale, release. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, press up, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up to that plank, and then let's send the hips back to downward dog. Inhale, bring that left foot forward. This time, again, low lunge or high lunge. Lifting if we want. We can add arms, lots of options, cactus arms, or even extended arms. Exhale, bring the hands back to the mat. Bring the right toes forward. Reverse the forward fold. Exhale, sink chair pose. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping back with that right foot this time. Again, high lunge or low. I'm gonna go with a low lunge. Arms, find a position. Exhale, release the hands. Stepping back with the left toes to plank, sending the hips back to downward dog. Inhale, bringing that right foot forward. Again, high or low lunge, walking it up if we want. Exhale, releasing the hands, stepping the left toes in. Release the head and neck, reverse the forward fold. Sink into chair pose. If we want to add a little something, we can try balanced chair. We can lift one heel. We can lift both heels. Sometimes taking the arms out helps us balance. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping back with the left foot. Again, high or low lunge. Inhale, walking the hands up. Exhale, release the hands. Take that right toes back to the left. Take the hips up and back for downward dog. Inhale, bring the left foot forward, low lunge. Now here, if we want, we can add a twist. So again, we can firm up that right hand beside the left foot, open to the left, extending that left arm long. Exhale, release. Bring the right toes in and reverse the forward fold. Sink back, chair pose. And again, if you want to try balanced chair, lift the heels. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Softening those knees, stepping back with the right foot this time. High lunge or low, walking the hands up. Exhale, release. Left toes back to the right. Take the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, bring those right toes forward. And again, high or low lunge, walking it up. And we can choose to take a twist here. So firming that left hand beside the right foot, opening to the right. Exhale, release. Bring those right toes in, left toes. Release the head and neck, reverse the forward fold. Exhale, sink chair pose. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale, this time we're just going to take the arms all the way back behind us. So here we are. We can either place our fists on our hip bones back here, or we can interlace our fingers and press our palms together. So if we're pressing our palms together, and if we have this accessible to us today, test it out. Kind of straighten the arms out. So we're opening the chest. So we're lifting our heart toward the sky. Our knuckles are reaching toward the ground to create a good stretch across the chest. Now we can stay here in mountain, our feet grounded, or we can take our torso to our thighs. So we're going to hinge at the hips, bringing it down. So we're going to, if we can, rest our torso on our thighs and let gravity give us a little more stretch. And again, we can stay in mountain pose and have a very nice stretch too. Exhale, release the hands. Give yourselves, wiggle your fingers out. Relax the head and neck, release there. Reverse the forward fold. Exhale, bring those hands through heart center. Let's try a little standing lateral flexion. So we're going to inhale, hands both come all the way up. Exhale, take that right arm back down, and we're just going to stretch here. So we're reaching tall toward the midline with our left hand, reaching toward the ground with our right hand. On the inhale, lengthen and straighten back up. In, continue inhaling, draw that right hand up. Exhale, take the left arm down. Again, inhale, we're going to stretch and flex. So again, we're reaching with that right hand now toward the midline. Left hand is reaching toward the ground. We're creating some space here in between our ribs. Inhale, lift, come up, bring that left hand up. Exhale, hands through heart center, Anjali Mudra. 2 breaths here. Again, checking in with our bodies. How are we feeling? How is our breath? Do we feel a little lighter? Do we feel energized? I know I'm feeling a little warmer. 1 more deep breath here. In through the nose, out through the nose. And we'll start our warrior series. So inhale, lifting. Exhale, forward fold. Placing the hands to the mat. We're going to step back into downward dog. So here we can pedal the feet out if we want, bending one knee, pressing the other heel toward the mat. Breathing, remembering our form here. We're going to spread our fingers wide, lift up and out of our wrists, out of our shoulders. Coming back to neutral here. We're going to bring that left foot forward about 2.5 to 3 feet. And we're going to turn that right foot to about a 45-degree angle. And we're either going to walk our hands up or we're going to use that core and lift all the way up. So our hips should be square to the short side of our mat. Front knee bent, but stacked over that ankle. Inhale, lifting those arms, and then releasing into whatever warrior one pose feels good today. So if we feel like this tightens our shoulders here, we can always release to maybe cactus arms, or we can bring the hands to heart center. Taking a couple breaths here, feeling the strength in our lower body, feeling the groundedness. Maybe even breathing in a breath of gratitude that we're here today in this moment. One more deep breath here. On the inhale, let's go ahead and open to warrior two. So we're going to open the hips. I'm going to turn this way just so you can see me. So we went from here, and now we're opening those hips, maybe lengthening our lunge a little bit. Now our front toes are pointed at the short side of our mat. Our right foot is parallel to the short side of our mat. And we're going to extend our arms long. So go ahead, check. Make sure one arm's not sagging behind. And maybe even take those pinky fingers and try to reach them toward each other a little bit. Drawing in the core, bracing that center, tucking our tailbone down. Making sure our knee is stacked over our ankle. Take one more inhale here. Exhale fully. On the next inhale, tip forward slightly. Reverse warrior or peaceful warrior. So we're going to take that left hand to the sky. Again, going for length here rather than arch of the spine. We're just feel that creating space again between the ribs on the left side body. On the next inhale, reach the hands back to warrior two. Exhale here. On the next inhale, straighten that front left knee, tip forward into triangle. So we're trying to stay in the plane here, our whole body in one plane. We can take our hand to our shin, we can take it to our thigh if we need to, or if we have it accessible, we can place our fingertips on the floor. Again, where we are today. Feel that length across the upper chest, reaching the hands away from each other. On the next inhale, slowly bend that front left knee, bringing ourselves into a lunge here. So we're going to take those left toes back to the right for a plank or kneeling plank, and then press back into downward dog. Now we can rest here in downward dog, we can rest in child's pose, or we can flow through a vinyasa to keep our upper body warm, lower body warm. Again, whatever feels right for you today. On the next inhale, we're going to bring those right toes forward about 2.5 or 3 feet. And again, take that left foot to about a 45-degree angle. Walk the hands or use that core and lift. Inhale the arms all the way up. Finding that good space for your arms, your upper body. Again, knee stacked over the ankle. Drawing in that navel. Maybe another breath of gratitude for a bright, shiny alumni weekend here in Roanoke. Take one more full breath here. On the next inhale, let's open to warrior two. So we're gonna open the hips, maybe step the feet a little wider, maybe not. Again, where we are, we can kind of wiggle our feet around. Left foot is now parallel to the short side of the mat. Right foot is kind of perpendicular to that short side of the mat. Extend those arms, drawing in that core. Taking another breath here. On the inhale, tip forward slightly. Exhale, peaceful or reverse warrior. So again, extending, reaching tall. On the next inhale, lift, coming back into warrior two. Exhale here. On the next inhale, straighten that front right knee and tip from the hips, coming into triangle. So again, keeping our head and neck in alignment. We can rest our hand on our shin. Just we want to avoid our knee. Any extra pressure or stress on our knee we want to avoid. Taking that left hip back toward the left heel. And as we inhale, bend that front right knee, bringing those hands to the mat, stepping it back to plank or kneeling plank. Again, child's pose is a resting pose. We can stay in downward dog or we can flow through a vinyasa. A little chaturanga, up dog or cobra, exhaling it back to downward dog. All right, bringing that left foot forward again. Warrior one. So again, we're going to turn that back foot to about a 45. Walk the hands up. Inhale, lift. Breathing here. Feeling the strength in our lower body. On the next inhale, opening to warrior two. So again, opening those hips. And this time, we're going to take our left elbow to our, I'm going to turn here so I can face you. Left elbow to the left knee for side angle. So extended side angle, we can reach long with that right hand, or if we're not feeling it today, we can just place our hand on our hip. So we want to make sure that we're lifted up out of our shoulder. We're not slumping into it. We want to be tall and long so we can extend that hand above to remind us of that. Take one more breath here. And exhale, come back to that high or low lunge. Again, finding, sorry, I don't have camera angles here, so I'm trying to help you out. All right, so from our lunge, again, we can find child's pose, downward dog, or a vinyasa flow. And same thing on the other side. So we're going to bring that right foot forward this time. Warrior one. Inhaling it all the way up. Being sure wherever our hand position is, our shoulders are released away from our ears. Breathing here. On the next inhale, we're going to open up to that warrior two. So again, maybe widening our stance, maybe not. Taking one more breath here. And as we inhale, again, finding our side angle. So placing that right elbow on the right knee and extending that left arm above, bicep over the ear or straight up, or again, even at our waist. On the next inhale, go ahead, bring it all the way down to that lunge, low lunge, high lunge. And one more time, either resting in child's pose, resting in downward dog, or flowing through a vinyasa. Let's all meet in child's pose. So if you're in downward dog, go ahead, sink the knees down, sink the hips back toward the heels, and breathe. So again, we can stack the fists or we can extend the arms long. Coming back to the breath. Checking in with our bodies. If your hands are stacked, let's go ahead and unstack them. Extend them long on the next inhale. Come back to that all four position. Tuck the toes behind us. Lift the hips up or downward dog. And on the inhale, look forward, bend those knees and walk. Or you can hop if you're there, back up to our forward fold and reverse the forward fold. Come all the way up. Exhale, rain the fingers down. So we'll try a balance pose here. So we're going to shift our weight onto our left foot. We'll do tree pose since we've got so many beautiful trees around campus blooming here in the Virginia, the Blue Ridge Parkway. So let's peel that right heel off the mat. Externally rotate that hip. Now we can stay right here. We want to have a lifted carriage here. So we want to lift all the way up as if a string is pulling you through the crown of your head. So we can tent that heel right there at our ankle. We can lift that heel, place the foot on our calf, or again, if we're feeling well balanced this morning, we can lift that foot and place it on the upper thigh. Again, always avoiding that knee. We don't want to put pressure on that knee. So lifting tall, bracing through the core, drawing in the navel. Hands can come to heart center. Draw everything in toward the midline. Again, if we want to stay more internal, more centered here, or maybe we're feeling like we've got energy to give and we want to spread our branches. We can extend our arms long wherever we are, feeling the strength in that standing leg, maybe giving ourselves a focal point to help keep balance. If we fall out of it, that's okay. It happens. Come back and maybe try a different version of tree. Taking one more breath here. And on the next inhale, slowly release that foot. Bring that back to the earth. Maybe giving that left ankle a little roll, a little massage. All right, so we'll find our spinal bounce on the other side. So we're going to shift our balance to that right leg. Again, peel the left heel off the mat, drawing up through the center, and then externally rotating that left leg, left hip. And again, we can stay here with that ankle, that heel tented against the ankle, or lift slightly into left foot to the calf. Or again, if you want to try, draw that. And sometimes one leg works better than the other, and that's okay. So drawing up through the midline. Maybe even giving a little smile. Again, feeling gratitude for that standing leg and the strength that it requires to hold us steady. Taking one more breath here. And on the next inhale, slowly releasing. So again, rolling out that ankle, giving our ankles a little love here, maybe even our fingers if we need it. And we'll move back down to the floor. So let's ground our feet. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Again, let's stay here for just a minute. Give our heads a little shake no and yes. And placing those palms on the mat. Let's go ahead and step back into a plank or a kneeling plank. So if you need to adjust yourself, that's okay. Wrists stacked under the shoulders, lengthening here. And let's go ahead and lower all the way down. So from here, we're going to do Locust Pose. So we want to take our hands back towards our toes. And on the inhale, we want to lift our chest off the mat, bracing our core, finding strength in that lower back. And if that's as far as you can go, that's great. If you want to try and lift those legs as well off the mat, again, going for length here in Locust Pose rather than arch of the back. So we want to lengthen through the crown of the head, through the toes, reaching on opposite directions. We're getting a little bit taller, Keep breathing here, inhaling, exhaling. One more breath. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale through the nose and release. And let's draw that left arm around the front. So the left arm is parallel now to the short side of the mat. And we're going to take that right hand and grab the outside of that right ankle for half bow pose. So we're going to use that thigh to lift us. So inhale and use that thigh, lifting us. Again, doesn't matter how far, feeling that stretch, breathing into it. You can also do full bow pose from here, which would be grabbing both ankles at the same time. So feel free, if you're feeling extra energized today, feel free to try that. Exhale, release. And let's switch sides. So bringing that right hand around to the front, grabbing that left ankle with the left hand, inhale, lifting, and using that thigh to lift the chest. One more breath here. And exhale, release. All right, sort of as a counter pose, let's press ourselves up and back to child's pose. So again, knees stacked under the hips, sink the hips back. And find your breath. We can stay centered here and just enjoy that stretch through the upper back, lower back. We want a little side body stretch. We can walk to the right side. We're going to stack the left hand on top of the right. And feel a side stretch through that left side body. Again, walking back to the center, we'll go to the other side. So we want to walk to the left, stack the right hand over the left. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. On the next inhale, again, slowly walk back to the center if you were stretching the side body. And let's inhale, come all the way forward. All four position. Sink one hip to the mat and swing those legs all the way around. Let's come to staff pose. So here in staff pose, legs extended, again, still soft bend in the knees. We can inhale, lifting. Exhale, release the arms to the side. And as we inhale, we're going to walk the hands into a seated forward fold. So we're just walking our abdomen toward our thighs. Exhale, relax into the stretch. Again, we can stay right here if this is a good enough stretch. If we want to go a little deeper, on the inhale, lengthen through the spine and slowly lower. And as you exhale, release and relax into the pose. Keeping the soft bend in the knees. On the inhale, extend through the crown of the head and slowly walk back up. Let's draw the left knee into the chest for a seated spinal twist. So we're going to stay right here, knee drawn to the chest. Inhale, lifting through the crown of the head, making sure we're sitting up on those sits bones. And we're going to start the twist. We're going to turn to the left, start it in the abdomen, take the ribs next, chest, shoulders, and then we add the arms. So we can wrap that right arm around that left knee, take the left hand back behind us. It's just kind of an anchoring point. We can keep our head and neck neutral, or we can look over that left shoulder. If we want a little deeper twist, this is going to stretch our glute a little more. If we want a deeper twist, we can cross that right arm across the left thigh and deepen the twist in the center. Again, do what feels right today in this moment. Breathing as deeply as we can in this twist, wringing ourselves out, letting go of anything that's no longer serving us. One more breath here. Exhale, releasing, coming all the way back to the center. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Drawing that right knee up, heel on the mat. Keep those sits bones, walk them back if we need to, sitting up tall. Again, inhale and start the twist from the abdomen. We're turning to the right this time, ribs, shoulders, and then we add the arms. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Taking one more breath here. Exhale, releasing fully. Coming back to the center. Let's bend the knees and use our hands here to roll ourselves down one vertebra at a time. And draw those knees into the chest. So knees to chest here. Maybe a little rocking motion if that feels right. Or even a little circular motion. So we can circle clockwise and then make sure we circle counterclockwise. Take one more breath here. Come back to the center. Exhale, release. And go ahead, release the heels to the mat. So we can leave our legs bent, our heels on the mat, knees tented together, or we can extend the legs long for our final relaxation, Shavasana. So find a comfortable position where you can just rest and relax for a few moments. So go ahead, let your eyes close. Wherever you are, whether your knees are bent or your legs are extended. Release any tension you feel left over in your body. Maybe give your toes a little wiggle and then let them relax. Relax your kneecaps, your quads. Let your hips open and release. Feel a heaviness to your tailbone. Let your fingers curl naturally. Let your shoulders open. Let your collarbones elongate. Those shoulder blades are so heavy, they're sinking into the mat. Release any tension in your facial muscles around your mouth, ears, between your eyes. Come back to the breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Again, bringing awareness to your breath. Noticing how it feels as it enters your nose, moves through the back of your throat, into your chest. And again, how it feels as it exits, pushes up through your chest, throat, and out your nose. Continuing the breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Gently bring awareness back to our bodies again. Starting with our toes, maybe giving our ankles a little roll. Maybe drawing our fingers in, rolling them into a fist, and then rolling them back out. Maybe rocking your head from one side to the other. And when you're ready, draw the heels up. Place them on the mat. Again, tenting the knees together. And if it feels right, extend those arms overhead, maybe giving more and less stretch here. And again, when we feel ready, rolling to one side, holding here in this side position. Breathing in our breath of gratitude. Again, releasing anything that is no longer serving us. And again, when we feel ready, using that one of our hand to press us up into a seated position. So coming back to our tall seated position here, drawing in one last breath here. Bringing our hands to heart center, exhale fully. The light in me salutes the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me this morning and sharing your practice. I hope this is a wonderful start to your Roanoke College Alumni Weekend 2021.